Hi, my name is Kathy Moyne and we're here at Green Thumb Nursery. We're going to talk about fall bulbs. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see, but it's kind of cloudy today and it's cool, and you can tell that there's fall is in the air. And so what kind of caps that off is the fall bulbs. Now when we say fall bulbs, these are the bulbs that you plant right now that will flower in the spring. Then in January and February we get what we call the spring bulbs, and those you plant in the spring and they flower during the summer. So what we have in right now is we have some tulips, and this is a combo pack. Now remember, tulips, crocus, and hyacinths need to be chilled, so they have to be put in the refrigerator for 4 to 6 weeks. And then after they flower and do their thing next year, you leave them in the ground, and then in October you dig those bulbs back up, dust them off, put them back in their fridge 4 to 6 weeks. That's on tulips, crocus, and hyacinths. They need a chill to flower, and because we're more subtropical here, we have to help them get that chill. So the rest of them that I have right now they'll naturalize in the soil, meaning you can plant them in the soil, you can put them in pots with a potting soil, and they will come back year after year. So they grow, they flower, and then usually they start dying down. Now as they die down, you want them to transfer that energy back into the bulb, so you're going to let them slowly die down. Now you can cut off the brown as it goes, just kind of follow it down into the bulb, or you can just wait till the whole thing goes and then cut off the dead stuff, throw it away. They'll be fine in the ground as long as they don't stay too wet and you don't accidentally dig them up or plant on top of them. You can plant around them, no problem. So this one here, these are Dutch iris and they come in different colors. So they have a foliage kind of like a grassy like foliage, gets about this tall, and then they have the pretty little flowers on top. We also now have the daffodils and the narcissus. Daffodils are those funny, they look like little cups and saucers when they flower, and these guys are real easy to grow. Now the nice thing about bulbs is they will multiply in the ground, so after a while you'll have to divide them, or you can give them to friends, or you plant them somewhere else. But that's one nice thing about bulbs, is they kind of just keep going. These are Paperwhite narcissus, which are related to the daffodils, and they are fragrant. Now these are the ones that you see in, you can actually grow these in the house in a nice little container. You can use it, you can put them in water, and you can also put them in forcing jars, the jars that have a little indentation where you can put the bulb, the roots go down into the water, and then the bulb grows up out of the top. These guys can be in the house, no problem, is in a nice bright area, and they're going to give you a fragrance and actually make perfume throughout your room. So if you can stand them, sometimes they're pretty strong. We also have the freesias. Freesias are in right now. Now we get these in the spring and the fall. So if you plant them now, they're going to bloom in the spring. Then if you plant some more in January, those will bloom in the summer. So you kind of extend your season on the freesias. Freesias will come back each year, and what I like about them is they've got a real sweet fragrance. So they're a lot of fun to grow. And they're going to get about 2 feet tall in the garden. Sometimes if they're not getting enough sun, they can stretch up. So the more sun they get, the more tight they're going to be, the more flowers you're going to get. If you put them more in a shady spot, because where I live I don't have a lot of sun, they stretch out, but I still get my flowers. So I'm happy with that. I let them kind of grow up through my plants, which is kind of neat. They'll peek out through the bushes and shrubs. Then we also have Ranunculus. Same thing. These we get now, and we also get them in the spring. And Ranunculus usually don't come back, but boy, their flowers, I don't know if you can kind of tell from that picture right there, they look like scoops of ice cream. And they're really a lot of fun to see in the garden. As a nice little border plant, they get about 18 inches tall. Now one thing you need to remember is, which way do these bulbs go? Well, it's kind of easy to see on the narcissus. Points are up, so always remember to point up. And you can also see where the roots are, where they should be, or they will be as they grow. Those go down. Now if you're in doubt and you can't tell which side is up, plant them sideways and they will correct themselves. So there's not a whole lot of worry. Now most of these have planting instructions on the back, so they'll show you how to dig the hole, how deep they go. Now if you don't have those directions, usually rule of thumb is twice the diameter of the bulb, inches in inches. So if it's a 2-inch bulb, you're going to go 4 inches down. So when in doubt, put them a little bit closer to the surface. Ranunculus sometimes can be hard to tell. They look like a bunch of bananas. On this one, the banana part, the point of the butt of the banana goes down, and where the stem of the banana would be where your stem is going to go up. Your flowers are going to come up from. If you're not sure, just turn them sideways. They'll correct themselves. Now also, when you're putting them in a pot, you want to use a good draining potting soil. If you're putting them in the ground, you can use a planter's mix. That's fine. You want to make sure you give them a fertilizer. This one is a bulb food. It's made particularly for bulbs, or you can simply use your bone meal. This is a good one, has a little bit of nitrogen in it. Now the thing about bulbs is they've got everything they need stored up right here. So you really don't need to do a whole lot of fertilizing other than maybe just giving them some bone meal. You're trying to encourage roots and flowers, and that's what the bone meal does. The phosphorus in the middle number of the fertilizer. Now also, we have onion sets in right now. So I have the white ones, I have some yellow ones, I have some red ones. And these are really great for if you want to get the big onions, you can do that, or you can use them as scallions. So as soon as they get about the size of your thumb, you can take those out. And what I'll do is I'll put the bulbs in the refrigerator in the crisper drawer. When I pull one out as a scallion, I will put one in to regrow. So I kind of get it going, or you can let them grow and be big. So either way, these are really a lot of fun if you like onions. So that's all we're going to have for today. If you like what you saw, please click the like button and hit your subscribe button and the bell so that you can be notified when we have more videos out. Hi, my name is Kathy Moyne, and we're here at Green Thumb Nursery to talk about Narcissus Paperwhites. Those are those real fragrant white little bulbs that come up in the spring. You can also plant them in water and give them as gifts during the holidays. From the time that you plant this little bulb, this is the bulb, from the time that you plant this little bulb, it takes 4 to 6 weeks for it to grow up and flower. And what's kind of cool is you can put it in like this really cool kind of like a pot. As long as the pot doesn't have a drain hole, this is perfect for what you want to do. So basically, we're going to plant these now, and I'm going to show you how they work, and then we're going to talk about how to take care of them. So I'm just going to be taking some white rocks, some decorative rocks, and I'm going to pour them into this container. This container does not have a drain hole, so it is going to hold water. And we're going to get it up just far enough so that when we put the bulbs in here, they're nestled just above the top of the pot. And now I'm just going to just set them down in here so you can kind of see that's what I've done. And then I'm going to take a little bit of rock and kind of put it around them so it kind of anchors them in a little bit. Now they have everything that they need to grow and do what they need to do stored in that bulb. They've got the sugars and the carbohydrates that they need to make the flowers, to make the foliage. So you really don't have to fertilize them. But you do want to put them in a bright spot. These can be grown inside or they can be grown outside. If you put them outside, they will take a full sun to a part sun, or you can put them inside and put them in a real bright area. Now that I've got my rocks in there, I'm going to take some water and I'm going to fill up the pot with water just to the bottom of where the roots are. So you don't want to have the roots or the bulbs sitting in water. So I have a little bit too much water, so I'm going to dump it off. So really you don't necessarily want to see the water around the bulb, but you want the root part to be, which is this part, to be in the water. So what'll happen is it'll start to sprout. Now, for those of you that have done this before, you know that sometimes that foliage gets really tall and they get all lanky. One way that you can keep them from getting tall and lanky is by giving them alcohol. We're going to turn them into alcoholics. So I have a little formula here. I want to read it because I don't want to get this wrong. I want you all to be able to do this properly. All you need to do is use like 40% alcohol or 80 proof. So gin, vodka, rum, tequila, and your favorite little beverage you can use, as long as it's at least 80 proof. And what you're going to do is you're going to make a solution of water and alcohol, about a 4 to 5% solution. So when you first do it, you're going to just use regular water. So for about 7 to 10 days, you're going to just do regular water. Then you're going to start seeing it to sprout, and you might also notice that there might be some roots. Now, if you have a clear jar, obviously you're going to see if you got roots, because you can do these in forcing jars. After you've observed about 2 to 3 inches of green growth, then you'll switch over to the alcohol solution. And then, so you take 1 part of booze to 9 parts of water, gives you a 4% solution, or 1 part booze or alcohol to 7 parts of water, and that gets you a 5% solution. So you can play with it either way. So after they've grown and you've gone to the alcohol solution, you keep using that until they come and do whatever they're supposed to do. Now they're going to come up, flower. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks for them to do their thing. Then what'll happen, and they're very fragrant, so you can have them in the house. They're gonna put perfume in your room if you can stand it. Some people it's a little strong, but if you do enjoy that, it's a great gift for others. It's real, as you saw, it was real easy for me to put it together. And if you if you buy them at Green Thumb, we do have this little paper here that tells you about that. You can email us or call us, and we can give you that formula again if you need it. But again, it's 7 parts to 7 parts booze to 1 part booze to 7 parts water, or 1 part booze to 9 parts water to give you a 40 to 50. So somewhere in between there. And when they're done, now they're going to start dying down. Now you can kind of put them away so you don't have to look at them dying down, but you do want them to transfer the energy back into the bulb. Now if you plant these outside, they will be naturalized in the soil, meaning that you don't have to dig them up, you don't have to mess with them. They're going to die down. Now they are going to multiply, so you can come in there later and pull out the bulbs, give them to friends, make gifts out of them. So they're kind of the gift that keeps on giving. So hopefully this is going to be something that will inspire you to have fun with the Narcissus Paperwhites. Hi, my name is Kathy Moyne, and we're here at Green Thumb Nursery on this blustery October day to talk about Amaryllis bulbs. We just got them in. We have the kits and we have the single bulbs, and so now's your time to plant them up so that you can have them blooming by either Thanksgiving or Christmas. It takes these bulbs about 6 to 8 weeks to bloom from the time you plant them until the time they're blooming. So you'll have to do some math to get them to bloom when you want them to, and sometimes they can be a little finicky, but they are something that adds, and you kind of get used to seeing them at the holidays, either Thanksgiving or Christmas. So typically, if you plant them in the ground and they're naturalized, they actually bloom in January and February. So we can kind of control when we want them to bloom by making them go dormant at a certain time and then planting them at a certain time. So rather than trying to plant this and make it bloom at Christmas or Thanksgiving, what you can do is give it as a gift. Now we've got these kits, and they come with everything you need. They come with the pot, they come with the soil, which is core, and you just put it inside the pot, you fill it with water, and then you plant your bulb. Now I've already filled it with water and actually got it to where it is nice and fluffy now. The soil is nice and fluffy. So when you do it, you just put the core on the bottom of the pot. There's no drain holes in here, so you have to be a little bit careful when you're watering them. And you almost fill it up to the rim. It tells you 3.5 cups of water, and you put the water in there, and then you let it puff up. So now it is puffed up, and we're going to go ahead and take the bulb. Now the bulb is ready to go, so you want your points up, your roots down, and so we're going to just very simply make a little spot in here in the dirt, and we're going to plant it up to the crown of the plant. So it's pretty simple, pretty fast, pretty easy. And as you can see, I'm done already. So that's it in a nutshell. Now we're going to put this in a sunny window, not a real hot window, but we want some nice bright light on it, and it will start sprouting. It takes, like I said, about 6 to 8 weeks from this stage to a flowering stage. So my advice is to get the kit and let them plant it themselves. That way they get to watch it grow. And then you don't have the pressure of making it flower when you want it to. Now you also, as the season goes on, we will have these already growing and flowering in the nursery so that you can come in as you're on your way to a dinner party and grab one and take it into them. But for now, we have the kits and we have the bulbs, and don't wait because they're gonna go quick. So as I'm sure you're hearing, everything that's Christmas related is going quick. So then once these start to sprout and they get their flowers, you're going to enjoy them. Now you want to keep the soil moist. Because this does not have a drain hole, you don't want to give it a ton of water. Maybe a cup of water at a time when the soil feels dry. As it gets more foliage and starts to flower, it will dry out a little bit faster, so keep that in mind, that you can't just water it every Friday like you may do some of your other plants. But like I said, they're pretty easy to grow, pretty easy to do. Now once it comes up, does its flower, it's going to start dying down. Now you take the stalk and you cut it about an inch above where the plant is, the top of the bulb, and that flower is done, but you're still gonna have foliage. So the foliage will continue to grow, and it will grow even through the summer months. And about 8 weeks before, like August or so, you're going to cut back on the water and let it to start die down. So you want that energy to transfer back down into the bulb. So it is going to start turning yellow. You can cut it as it goes if you don't want to leave the yellow leaves on there, but you want it to die down and go to sleep for at least 8 weeks. Then you're going to pull it back out. Now you put it in a dark, dry area, warm, dry area, and that's going to simulate it going to sleep. So then when it's been in there the 8 weeks, then you're going to pull it back out and replant it like we did here. So then it'll do its thing on and on. Now you can put it in the soil outside. You can actually acclimate it. Now because if you did it inside, you're going to have to acclimate it to the sun. Now if we're doing it in the winter time here in California, Southern California, it's not that big of a deal to put them in the full sun because the sun is not that intense. But if you're doing it in the summer for some reason, you're going to put them outside, you'll have to acclimate it. Slowly introduce it to a little more light each week. That being said, if you put them in the ground, you are going to have to use some snail bait. These Amaryllis attract the slugs and snails. They will crawl across your yard and invite their friends to come and eat your Amaryllis bulb. And usually they do eat right at the base of the flower stem, so it falls over. They're really good at that. So you want to make sure that if you do grow it outside, you will need to put some snail bait around it. They will naturalize in our soils, and if they don't rot. Now they're bulbs, so you want to make sure that they don't stay too wet between waterings so that they'll continue on. And they multiply, so you're going to be able to give these as gifts later on if you want to. Also, after it's done flowering, you can put some Osmocote in the soil. This is a slow release fertilizer, so you don't have to mess with it. You do it right after it's done flowering, and it can stay in there for 6 to 8 weeks before you need to put any more in there. But you don't want to fertilize it once it gets close to August because you don't want it to start regrowing again. You're trying to get it to go to sleep. So my bet for me is once I'm done with this, I'm going to give it some Osmocote and pretty much forget about it. Let it do its thing, and then in August I'm going to cut back on the water and let it die down and start the process all over again. So if you do, like I said, naturalize it in the soil, it kind of goes through its own little process. If you want it to bloom at a certain time, again, you have to keep that 6 to 8 weeks idea in your mind that it's going to take 6 to 8 weeks to sleep, and it's going to take 6 to 8 weeks to flower. So either way, the Amaryllis is an easy thing to do, and it's an awesome gift to give during the holidays. And these are only $10, you guys. $10 for a pot, soil, and the bulb. It can't beat that. Thank you for watching, and like us if you like us. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos, and the little bell if you want to know when it comes out. Thank you. Have a great day.